Good morning, friends. Once again, I welcome you back to this class of video lecture. Friends, this is BA Part 2nd English Literature, and we are taking paper 1, that is Poetry and Drama. And today we take up a very famous poem written by Shelley, and the title of the poem is To a Skylark. To a Skylark is one of the most remarkable lyrics written by Shelley. This is a lyric, again, it is a term which you are supposed to consult from the glossary of literary terms. So, To a Skylark is one of the most remarkable lyrics of Shelley. It was composed in the year 1820. This poem is representative of Shelley's thought and style in his major poetry. Of the skylark, Wood in his Natural History says, "This most interesting bird is happily a native of our land, England, and has cheered many a sad heart by its blithe, jubilant notes, as it wings skyward on strong pinions, or flutters between clouds and earth, pouring out its very soul in its rich wild melody. Early in the spring, the skylark begins its song and continues its musical effort for neatly 8 months, so that on almost every warm day on which a country walk is practicable, the skylark's happy notes may be heard ringing throughout the air long after the bird which utters them has dwindled to a mere speck. I unquote. Mrs. Shelley wrote about this ode as follows: "In the spring we spent a week or two at Lagan, borrowing the house of some friends who were absent on a journey to England. It was on a beautiful summer evening, while wandering among the lands whose myrtle hedges were the bowers of the fireflies, that we heard the caroling of the skylark, which inspired one of the most beautiful of Shelley's poems." Again, I unquote. The spiritual character of the Skylark song is the very keynote of Shelley's poem, struck in the first stanza and maintained through all its marvelous combinations of musical thought and imagery and emotion to the very close. At the outset, Shelley addresses the skylark as a spirit singing in the pure empyrean and ever soaring nearer to heaven's gate as she sings. He then addresses the emancipated soul of melody on the celestial lightness and freedom in which it now sings. To the swift, sympathetic imaginator of the poet, the scroner of the ground, floating far up in the golden light, has become an aerial rapture, a delighted spirit whose ethereal race has just begun. This is a representation at once profoundly poetical and profoundly true. So, friends, this is an outline of the poem, and the poet Shelley is enraptured by the song of the skylark. To him, the bird appears a happy spirit whose song is full of joy. The bird flies higher and higher from the earth. It is like a cloud of fire. As it soars high in the sky, it sings. It is like an embodied joy when it flies at the morning time. The music of the bird is as keen as the arrows or beams of the moon. The music fills all the earth and air. The poet is filled with joy when he hears the music of the skylark. He compares the bird to a poet hidden in the light of thought, to a glowworm behind bushes and unseen by man, and finally to a concealed rose flower, the petals of which have been comprehended and scattered by warm winds expended. Then the poet feels that the song of the bird surpasses in its beauty and charm all that is joyous and freshness in the world. The praise of wine or love is nothing as compared to the praises showered on the music of the bird's song. Uh, Mary's trumpets are nothing as compared to the music of the bird. The poet wonders as to how so much sweetness is found in the song of the bird. Is it love or ignorance of Pan that gives the charm to the song of the skylark? Is it love or ignorance of Pan which is able to give the charm to the song of the skylark? The poet then feels that there cannot be any languor or lassitude in the song of the bird. The bird is happy at heart. Human beings can never enjoy the happiness of the bird. They are not destined to experience that joy and happiness which the skylark feels in its heart. The lot of human beings is very sad. They look before and after and pine for what is not. But the sad pining is not to be found in the song of the bird. The bird song is superior to treasures found in books. The poet implores the bird to teach him half its gladness, so that, like the happy skylark, he may also pour out sweet music through his poetry and may impel the world to hear his song, just as he is hearing the song of the skylark. So, friends, this is all about the spiritual approach the poet has taken up, and I just come to the very first stanza of the poem. Hail to thee, blithe spirit, bird thou never wert, that from heaven or near it pourest thy full heart, profuse strains of unpremeditated art. So here hail means welcoming, HAIL, hail, greeting, welcome to thee here for the skylark, blithe spirit, this is the happy spirit, bird thou never wert, the poet feels that the lark was never born a bird, it was always a spirit. Wordsworth also puts the same question to the cuckoo: shall I call thee a bird or but a wandering voice? Right, friends? So, the first stanza, the meaning of the first stanza goes like these are the opening lines taken from the poem entitled To a Skylark. The poet welcomes the bird, calling it a happy spirit. He calls it a happy spirit because it is rather an ethereal spirit than an earthly bird. Flying at an immense height, the skylark sings songs that give vent to the passionate feelings that fill its heart with a fullness and spontaneity that is natural and untaught, unpremeditated, that is spontaneous, natural, and untaught, unskilled. From the time the skylark commences its flight, it soars continually higher and higher like a mass of flame, breaking away from the fire and ascending in a cloud which disappears as it rises. As it flies higher and higher in the sky, it sings continuously. Clouds are often gathered over the part of the horizon where the sun will rise in the morning, and they brighten with his strengthening rays. Early in the morning, when the eastern horizon is overspread with the glowing colors of the sunrise, the skylark hovers and flies as lightly as a happy spirit who has just entered upon his heavenly existence after getting free from earthly burdens. So the next stanza goes like this: higher still and higher from the earth thou springest, like a cloud of fire, the blue deep thou wingest, and sing still the soar and soaring ever singest. This is the use of alliteration, friends. The constant use of consonant sound S is coming in the last line of the second stanza, and from this you could catch up the use of alliteration. So I think you are quite enjoying the poem in a most lovable way, and in the times to come we shall be able to finish the poem. Thank you, friends.